What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Patient Hodler channel with an interview. Very rare these days, but finally, after one announcement, we made it happen. So welcome to the stream, Sanjay, aka Mr.MC1. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you very much for having me on the channel. I know we've been working on getting this date scheduled for a very long time, and good timing as well. What an amazing week for Veve. And so a lot of news to share as well. So let's do that.
Yeah, it was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago, but then I became pretty sick, however you want to call it. And so, guys, make sure to smash up the like button directly for the stream to pump it out to everyone. And yes, what an amazing week for Veve, and what a bad week for my credit card, to be honest. Because that comic platform is completely draining my willpower to do something else. So how are you feeling about this? Like, let's get directly to the stuff with a big announcement. How are you feeling about the Marvel launch? Did you know about it before? And you have been to South by Southwest, so how was the announcement?
So thank you for the question. So I was a beta tester for Marvel Comics, and so I've known about this for almost 2 months now, and I've had the opportunity sometime back to get into the Veve Comics app as well as the reader. So there's two new things. I think a lot of people don't quite know that there are two new things that have come out. So actually, when you what's Veve.me/comics is where you buy the comics that are ECL, electronic comic license, and they're not NFTs, and you have the option to upgrade into a digital collectible through a blind box. But where you see your comic, there's just above it in a small font, you say read. When you click on it, it takes you to a reader, and you're able to read the comic, and that's got some technology in. So had the opportunity to test both of them out, and really enjoyed that experience. Also a very real honor to do so. I was among 6 people being asked to do that. So that's a little bit just about that. This next part of it is really around the implication of this. Or maybe we can just talk about the announcement first. So the announcement was very interesting. It was at South by Southwest. There was a few Veve people there. Marvel was there. So CB Chabulski is the editor-in-chief of Marvel, and Trom Brevoort. The two of them did a lot of the talking in the beginning. And it was more about X-Men. It's about the new X-Men that's coming out. And that took up about half the time. And then after that, they got Dan up on the stage along with Marvel, with CB, and they talked about this comic launch. It was something that people didn't expect. They'd kept it a secret all the way till the end. So, you're very welcome, Chris Dan. I'm glad you like it too. But yeah, so this was very interesting for everybody to kind of know. I was perhaps the only one other than David and Dan and Eagle who kind of knew about it in the audience there. But for everybody else, they were just completely surprised. It's like, wow, there's and I don't think anybody understood the magnitude of both the number of comics that were going to get released on that day, as well as the significance of this announcement, which is perhaps the third thing that we can cover. But let me pause there before we go into sort of the significance and importance of
I actually have before we talk about the magnitude of these edition sizes and everything. Yes. I actually got some viewer questions also from Twitter, and this one fits perfectly in here. So you said you have been selected as a beta tester for Marvel. You also said that you traveled to South, or for Veve, yes. Okay, so for the Veve application, so even better, right? And you were at Crypto XR. We both met there. We conquered the pub together, right? But what's important here is the question basically was, what kind of position does Mr. MC1 have in the Ecomi company or what is his relation to the Ecomi company or Ecomi and Veve? So a couple of people wonder, are you just a collector that is like a very, very well connected, gets invited all the time, or do you have an advisory position? So maybe we can get some transparency on that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if I get a check with it, for sure. Yeah, you know, see, if everybody feels like I should get a check for it, then maybe I should, right? Just kidding, man.
Maybe.
So listen, just full transparency, I am a collector on Veve. I have no position on Veve, official or unofficial or any such thing. I've been a collector on Veve from the beginning, and I have a decent sized collection. I'm not the biggest collector, but I am a level 100 now. I have close to 4,000 comics and about 1,500 plus collectibles. And I've quite actively involved in all of that. So that's a little bit about, you know, just sort of my background on Veve. Outside of Veve, I've worked in business for a long time. I've worked in tech. I was a general manager at Amazon. I've helped design digital B2C experiences at Amazon at the intersect of retail, finance, and payments. So all three I kind of understand. I've been a CEO of a fintech. I've been a president of another fintech where I've helped design customer experiences. I'm also a mentor at Harvard, mentor at Michigan State for early stage companies. And I spend, my wife and I have both also donated some money to design a digital experiential learning program at Michigan State. So I have a passion in this space. I'm not driven by money. And I really enjoy this sort of Web 2 to Web 3 transition. The one thing that I've personally sort of been most fascinated by is community. You know, the company can build all the digital things in the world they can build, but you know, that community element of Web3 is something that's intrigued me. I'm a student. I want to understand it. I want to learn it. And I have some time on my hands too. So I invest my time in building out the community. I'm not paid for it. Honestly, the day I don't like anything in Veve, I'd speak my mind. And you've heard me go off on MCP. You've heard me go off on a number of other topics. I mean, so absolutely. You know, with me, I'm not in any way. Nobody pays me a check. I don't need to be, you know, one way or the other. I can speak my mind freely, which I think I really like. But I think that also puts me in a good place with Veve and Ecomi in that they see me as someone that is open, honest, direct, means well. And so I don't know why they picked me, but that's a question for Veve. But I'm very grateful, and I really enjoy doing what I do. Obviously, you're in the Veve Gold logo group, so that's the other element to it.
Nope, not yet.
I started the group. Not yet. Oh, you're not yet in it.
I don't have a gold logo. So as of this point, I don't have a gold logo. Hopefully this comes one day. But otherwise, I would already have asked you for one of these caps. Yeah,
that's very true, though. So I started that group about almost a year and a half ago, and that again is community building. Getting this hat done for the group is community building. Throwing the parties that I do is community building. So a lot of those are different types of activities, and through these activities, I've gotten very close to the community. I've gotten very close to the team. And you know, sometimes it's easy to misunderstand that, hey, why is this guy getting favorable treatment or whatever? But you know, look, if I'm throwing a party for 250 people that includes the community and the team, by definition, I would have the phone number of the people that I'm coordinating with. You know, have I gotten any special privilege? I would say no, because I have bought every comic, every collectible on the app. Every once in a while I hit a secret rare, and I feel like I have a lower probability of hitting a secret rare than some people on X, because everybody keeps saying, oh, I got a secret rare. I'm like, why don't I get one?
It feels like that, right? It feels like that everyone gets secret rares besides you.
Say that again?
Yeah. It feels like everyone gets secret rares besides myself, right? But when you analyze
it, as everybody else.
Yeah, it's always different people. So it feels like, because the people only post about it when they hit a secret rare. So
yeah, and I've never gotten any benefit from the company otherwise. You know, I have gotten a few free things, but those are not things that were unique to me. Like, for example, I attended South by Southwest. Every person in the audience got a free comic and a free digital collectible. I got that. You know, everybody, like a lot of people have gotten a gold logo given to them. And I got, you know, a gold logo given to me through that as well. But outside of that, nobody has given me any OMI, any collectibles. I don't get any favorable treatment. I don't get access to any drops that is special to anyone else. And if I ever come across any piece of information, either it's under an NDA and I don't disclose, or, you know, if accidentally, you know, a lot of us can hear different things accidentally. I don't misuse that information, and I don't share that either. So, yeah.
I think that's a very like more explanation on where you are positioned in this as anyone can ask for. So there you have it, guys. Question answered. Let's talk about, or go back on the point that you mentioned before, the comics platform. You tried it out before, but you had to buy every comic for yourself. So I guess you minted a ton of comics also, like we all did, or maybe not so many. I don't know. You will tell me. And also, we just saw the release of around about 300 comics, which all have an edition size about 1,000 total, with varying rarities and some non-existing rarities. So we saw a lot of mix, and all of them are new comics. So no grails hidden in there that are from the Silver Age or the Golden Age or whatever. No, of course not. They are probably coming still out on Veve, but maybe you know that already. And yeah, so let me know, what do you think? Do you think this is like a dangerous dilution of the market now, and basically everything that people have bought before is going to zero? Or how do you see this?
Before you go there, I did want to correct one thing. So while we tested the app, what the 6 people that tested the app did not know was how many comics are getting released, what's the edition size, and what those comics are. So we found out all of those things at the same time as everyone else. And so I don't think I had any unfair advantage or any such thing. In fact, the app went live 2 hours before the actual space happened in Austin. And I found out on X that the space is already live, and I bought some comics while that space was going on, but many people had already bought. And I was listening, and I was looking through the app to see which comics, how many. Like, I didn't even know. I just put like 3 in my cart and bought them. And then I put 5 in my cart and bought them. And then I put 26 in the cart, and then the transaction didn't go through. And yeah, so, you know, I struggled just as much as anyone else. I bought, so the 26 didn't go through, but then, and it was a real travesty, right? So to have all this planning go into an app and to build all of these things, and then to have a payments gateway kind of work only for like about 2 hours, and then to go down by volume, really sad. And I understand that it's a third party, that's the Veve gateway and stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, when the app says Veve, Veve is accountable for everything in the app, and including the payments. So you might have a third party that failed, but again, you know, Veve is definitely responsible, accountable. You can, you know, there's probably some lessons for Veve in this as well. Could they have stress tested the app with the partner a little more? Could they have informed the partner that the volume was going to be a lot more? But then again, who knows what the take rate on some of these things will be. Like, there's no, you know, it's the first time you're doing something, so you don't know what it is. Could they have provisioned it for a lot more volume just to be on the safe side? Were there some other errors that happened? Look, I mean, at the end of the day, Veve is responsible.
I think it's part of the development, because if you think that previously we had congestion issues directly on the app with smaller edition sizes, and you're now basically you launch 300 drops at once. That's basically what it is, right? And it delivers them. I mean, everything that I bought from the release, I was at work. I was working on a tender in the middle of the night, and at the side I was buying stuff on the phone. Okay, so and everything that I bought got delivered instantly into my collection. It didn't update on all of these sites like Stacker where we were tracking our stuff because they all broke on the API, right? But so the delivery, if I compare that to a year or two ago, I was impressed that this thing didn't broke the Veve app in the deliveries. So that was good. And I don't think that people will remember that there was a time without payments. And I think Veve didn't lose much because of that, because probably they did 48 hours of $1 million for Marvel in new releases, which should be pretty good for Marvel, actually. So they hopefully they are proud. But
No, thank you for covering that. Obviously I bought a few right away, but I was also very busy because after the event, there was an event with, there was dinner with the rest of the Veve fam and David and Dan and Eagle and these guys. And so we were all busy with that. We're trying to pick up a few comics in between, but the payments wasn't working. So we're like, oh, okay, forget about it. Just have a good time. And then tomorrow we'll buy some more. It's not going to run away. You might lose out on the opportunity to pick up, a few of the really good ones. But then again, everything's new and there's so much that's going to come. So it's you have to make a judgment call on it. So I really ended up enjoying my time. The next day I had some more work to do and I was driving back from Austin. So again, didn't get to do a whole lot. But when I came home, I really, that evening things were back up and I bought a bunch and I really enjoyed it. I saw some of the low mints and the secret rares, and I was just I got like a mint 23 secret rare and I was like, wow, this felt so good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just after I got I bought like another few more. Just
how many secret rares do you get? How many secret rares did you get?
Not a lot. I think I got like 3 of them out of close to like 70, 80. I might have bought 100 or so. Which I think is sort of the 1 in 30 is kind of the probability of hitting those secret rares, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So anyway.
Should be the probability, but I minted also 100 and I only got 2. So
yeah, that's kind of the probability. Same. I'm on the same thing, but I got like 1 really good mint, which was great. But you asked a very good question about dilution.
Yes.
So I think at least David told me 2 things. After the space, after all that space was done and everything. And both points are very interesting. So the first thing that he said was that he wanted to make these comics collectible. So the low edition sizes is a lot to do with the collectability of it. And I think he was absolutely on the money. Because if you had like 10,000 of each of these, it would have been very different kind of market reaction. I think the fact that you have access to 300 comics, but low, only 1,000 edition size and only 40 secret rares, and the ability to get some low mint, super low mints, which we normally don't get for some of the grails on Veve, was quite interesting. So to me, that point was very, very well sort of made and taken in terms of collectability. And then the second point was specific to the secret rares. He said, look, there's only 40 secret rares. And he didn't sort of make the follow-up point, which said that if in today's market, 40 secret rares and 1,000, in 1,000 run 40 comics is so special, like if this thing takes off, future comics will likely not be 1,000, right? Yeah. We don't know for sure, but it makes it highly, highly collectible. The secret rares are something. So to me, those were points that were very well made and also very exciting. You had another point about dilution. And I think that the market dilution point is one that we can spend a little bit more time talking about.
Yeah, I think so. It would be cool if David could join right now so that we can ask him directly. But there are a couple of nuances to this, because I understand if we only look at 300 comics, everyone is a 1,000 edition drop, and we calculate that against 2 times per week, 5,000 edition drops. It's actually not. You still need 6 months to get to this point, right? But there is another perceived dilution, and that is when the first drops came out, it was 60,000 editions, and people spent extra money to get a 1,000 or 5,000 mint. And then because the sub 1,000s were so scarce, no one really got to them. And then it went down to 20,000. And so we made the move backwards into the bear market. But people that collected low mints then and secret rares with 600 editions now feel this perceived dilution of 600 edition secret rare is the same as a common on that website now. Or even
that's very true.
So some people that spend a lot of money and effort on that, they feel they got wrecked now because of that, right? That these secret rares basically lose in value because of that. So that is one of a perceived dilution.
I don't disagree with that point. I mean, I think that's true. However, you can't compare a Veve's first comic, a Marvel Comic 1, with a modern day comic or some other comic.
But how's
the 60,000 number was a function of where Veve was at the time, and they made the best decision based on what they thought was happening. Now, they made that decision with all the data they had available. Obviously, during the bull run, first of all, it sold out. In the bull run, it all went up in value as well. And so they continued to keep some comics at those at that size. But when the market falls, like the entire NFT market has fallen. Your Bored Apes went from how many ever ETH to 13 ETH or 15 ETH now. You have Mutant Apes that were, I don't even know how many ETH, it's like 4 or 5 ETH now, or maybe even less. Moonbirds, all of these things are all, the whole NFT market has, shrunk, right? And so Veve as a company, now you can't turn back clock backwards, and you can't just say, I did 60,000 in that time, so now I'm going to do everything 60,000 to, you're going to lose more value. Talk about dilution. You'll lose more value. Yes, the people that bought the secret. By the way, I'm one of the people. I have a Marvel Comics 1 mint 1032 secret rare, and I paid $10 grand for it. I paid $3 grand for my one of my mints, and I paid 10 for the other. And so when you think about something like that, you're sort of saying, look, I expect this company to make the best decision at any given point in time with the data that's available. Personally, my belief is that with the new comics app, we're going to bring in a lot more readers, not collectors, and open the door, and digital readers. So there's many implications to this announcement, which, when Veve had only the Veve app where they were dropping NFT comics, suddenly you had a Golden Age comic, suddenly you had a Silver Age comic, suddenly you had a Bronze Age comic, you had an Avengers comic, you had an X-Men comic, you had an Uncanny X-Men comic, you had a Tarzan comic. There's no pattern. Each one is just a collectible kind of a thing. And for the people that know these comics, they're rereading something they've already read. For most others, they're not even reading it. And even the guys who read it, it's a novelty because there's no continuity with it. But if you look at the new Veve app, Veve Marvel Comics app, first things first, it's new comics. So the people that read comics physically are open to picking up a digital comic that's not an NFT. So this is like, it's not even an NFT. So because a digital might be available faster, because you don't have to make a trip to your local comic store to go buy it, might be actually cheaper than your local comic store in some cases. You have the ability to read it in much more interesting ways, in that you have all this panel by panel and stuff. A physical comic, you can only read in a certain way. Less, it won't get destroyed. So there's a lot of other benefits to it, which can attract some physical readers. I think that's still a slower journey to get a physical comic reader. There's some people who say, I just want the feel of paper, and they're so used to it. To convert that audience to digital, NFT or not, is a lot harder than to take somebody who's already reading a digital comic on Marvel Unlimited or something. So it used to be 3 weeks before a new comic would come out on Marvel Unlimited. Well, now it's immediate, right? On this Veve Comics app. So for the digital readers, it's now an ability to pay $3 of whatever the price they set for these comics to buy them and read them right away. And now that audience of people who are not into NFTs but read digital comics, for them to come in, two things. One is to continuously read a series, right? So you get the X-Men, then you get the next number 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can keep reading them. So you bring in that reading community, and I think that's a lot easier than the physical comic reading community. And then the other thing is, now these guys see like this little very interesting button next to it that says upgrade.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to be curious, what does this upgrade mean? And it's limited quantity. So even if they don't buy, they're going to go on to the Veve app to see what do these 5 variants sell for. And then they're going to see the secret rare and what it's worth and all of these other things. And it could be highly discouraging for some and be just this gambling that they want to stay away from. But for others, it could be like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm ready to try it. And so it's an easy on-ramp for a digital comic reader, not collector, to come in and then to influence and inspire some form of collecting. And then when they come into Veve, they might then say, oh, okay, let me try this collectible or the stamp. So it opens up. I think it's a slow journey to get people into that. I think it also opens the door to doing phygital in 2 different angles. To do a digital comic with the ability to go get the physical, or a physical comic with a code to bring them into digital. And you can do the phygital from both sides, and for Marvel controls both sides. And so the number of opportunities there, it's exponential. This is just a masterful move, in my humble opinion. Not taking anything away, the payments mess that happened, poor experience.
Okay, but this is technological. This is no strategical issue, so to say. Yeah.
This is a brilliant move. This is a brilliant move by Marvel and Veve. It's very well executed. I've heard some of the commentary and the issues, and we can talk about the different issues. Like, both sides, the digital and the physical side, are saying, hey, why didn't you tell me ahead of time? If you were dropping 300, why didn't you just do it with 1 or 2 comics and then do the 300 so we're all ready for it? All these, these are all different good issues. And I honestly think there's many ways to look at each of them, and we can, you can have a different point of view on each one of these things.
Yeah, I think you made a great point that these readers, they have the storyline for continuation. I also saw when I was doing my morning streams, I now went to, hey, sometimes I should buy some comics on the stream, right? So I had an extra buy comic stream, and people were like, hey, buy Moon Knight. And I was like, I would never come to the idea to do that. And then I was like, why is this comic so much more expensive? And someone told me this comic has 80 pages compared to 30 pages. So actually, it's more expensive. Readers will buy that to actually read the story. But the moment that you hit the unlimited or the limited edition button and you see the cover variants, that's also something like, if you're a reader, you probably somewhat also are into cover variants or maybe collecting or so. You see the cover variants, and there's one more detail that gets me hyped. I don't know if you ever were a gamer or so, or if you like to occasionally play a game, but I played heavily World of Warcraft for a good part of my life, right? So, and what really triggers a brain like mine is the little colors. Like the common is green, like in World of Warcraft, and the uncommon, it's blue, but the rare is blue usually. And so these rarities have colors. I think that's a very minor thing, but it triggered something in me. And it's like, okay, you have these guys. I think Veve should put these colors into the app. And on top of it, we should have an animation, because this is like we should have some I don't know, like an unpacking thing.
Unboxing and stuff,
yeah, like like a box that has an animation, and a boom, you get your cover variant. Makes you even more addicted, right? So I think we should have that also on our blind box drops. Yeah. And then I could spin it even more, that you should have the ability to not click the box, but to keep the box. So yeah, so, right. So just thinking ahead here, but I really liked how they executed it on the comic page, and someone said, just to add this here before we take another turn on the topics here, someone said they liked more buying on the Veve comics page than on the actual Veve app. So I found that interesting because actually I felt the same.
Yeah, same here. So a couple other things we didn't talk about. So I agree with every point. By the way, I used to play Grand Theft Auto, Formula One, in terms of sort of more the kind of addictive stuff. But then I play some of the easier games like Scrabble and Civilization and those kind of games as well. It's kind of more board type games as well. But anyway, but yeah, you made some great points. I think the whole bringing in a playful element to it that creates like this unboxing, and some of the other people in the NFT space have done it. I think that would be a good one to put on the list to get some attention. There's a couple other points there as well. One is when you buy a comic digitally, you're able to see the colors for covers, right? Because when an artist's vision is put through a printer with colors, it's never the same as when you actually see it digitally. Digitally, you can replicate it identical to it. So the true form colors, the color is another thing. And then another element to the whole digital comic buying is, when you go to a physical comic store, have you seen people walking in an aisle and they're looking at this comic and that comic and you don't know where it is, and then you're kind of leafing through it, and then somebody else put something in the front, and then if you're looking for a back issue, oh shit, now you got to go to the rack and somebody's found it, you ask the guy. There's all these problems, right? Digital, it's a search. Everything is categorized, search, which artist, which this, which that. So that's one element is you willingly searching. But the involuntary part, if you think of like an Amazon, when you go to buy things on Amazon, every time you buy something in the cart, it tells you, hey, how's it going, man? Oh, you like that? That's very cool. But yeah, when you buy something, below, it tells you, here's something else you would like. It automatically gives you the link to the number 2 or the next in the series and similar series, similar artists. That type of convenience of finding things, buying things. I mean, I think we should just have a buy physical comic button next to it, which automatically goes to some comic store and make a little piece of the action on that one as well, right? You can buy here, you can buy the ECL, you can buy the physical comic, and you can buy the NFT, you can get whatever rarity you want. So I think those are all opportunities, but digital, the foot traffic that you can get digitally, I mean, Amazon's a classic example. I mean, 50% of all things bought online the search originates on Amazon, not Google.
Yo,
and Veve could be the search that originates in a comic purchase or some other similar purchase. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, I just look. I'm willing to put aside all my short-term pain with when I see this vision and impact that it can have in how we consume comics, and both physically, digitally together, as well as the link to fan engagement of many things. You can connect movies to it, you can connect short clips to it, you can connect collectibles to it, you can collect Funkos and all those kind of things to it. There's so many permutations and combinations.
Animated covers. Could be
animated covers, man. I would love to see that. I don't know why we don't have that, but yeah.
Actually, did you see the covers that Sleepin Comics posted, and some other people did that as well? Like the covers that we have on the app, but then they put something over it so that it has some animation. That looked dope. If that was like, and then imagine you have the comic drop and the secret rare is the animated, or like it has the animation in digital format. So I think there's so much potential to bring out here, and so with that, to wrap this up, we could go into philosophy about this comic platform. Maybe we come back to the topic of the comic platform later on. But another follower on X asked, can you ask him if the Veve Comics is the big thing that he was talking about on NFT Pirate stream, or do we have something else waiting?
Man, one part of me says maybe I should say no, it's not the big thing, so then the fudders will kind of just stay out. then people were less funding the project. Anyway, but yeah, this was the big thing. It's so big, man. It's bigger than big, right? At least,
Yeah.
I don't know if you disagree with me, you can say that. But yeah, this was the big thing. It's just so huge, in terms of people wouldn't expect it. With Veve, everybody was expecting there'd be new IP, maybe some new category, but in an existing category.
Yeah, so because they were like X-Men, and then I was like, I get my hopes up because of intersection of tech and I don't know what.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't expect that, and that's a good sign actually, because they, for the first time, I feel in all that history, maybe it's already longer, but they actually under-promised. It wasn't even them; it was just a release.
They didn't say anything. Nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody
People
knew.
Presumed it was phygital. It's not phygital.
Yeah.
It's not a phygital. Even people who think they knew, who thought they knew, said it's phygital or whatever. Nobody knew this thing. It was very well kept secret. And even from people like me who kind of knew what was coming, we didn't know how many comics were coming, and what the rarity and stuff was, man. Oh, the scarcity was.
Exactly.
Sleepy. Sleeping is not big. It's bigger than big. That's what I'm calling it.
It's as Crazy Dan says, it's massive.
Yes,
so thank you very much to Papi and Trucking Hank here for the contributions. He's an absolute degen. This means, like, the Canadian dollars here, that means I can mint another one after the stream, right?
There you go. By the way, I love your stream. Thank you very much for what you do. They're always very professionally done, and the questions are absolutely incredible. And really, honestly, it's my honor to be on this channel here. I've really been looking forward to it for a long time.
Thank you very much, and glad to have you here. And hopefully, it's not the last time.
No.
With that said, this comic thing overshadowed big accomplishments that happened before. Because at least right now on streams, probably everyone talking about this Marvel thing, but actually we had sports NFT and music NFT launch right before that. And it shows once again how Veve sometimes doesn't pay attention to timing, because they go like with this, and overshadow it, right? Instead of like having a little bit more time between the steps, but they just seem to be focused on building only. Were you also involved in testing of sports NFTs, or is there something that can surprise you as well?
No, it surprised me as well. I didn't know anything about the sports. I mean, we've all known that sports NFT is coming sometime. We all knew music NFT is coming sometime. We kind of knew that the music NFT was going to come sooner rather than later. I mean, that was kind of, people knew somehow that there's some music that's coming soon, the jukebox. Ron may have spoken about it, more kind of directionally in the past in some space and stuff like that. And David also indicated the music. So I knew music was kind of coming. I just didn't know when. Honestly, I thought it would have been a lot sooner, but it was great that it came. The sports NFT, I had no idea. I didn't know who Joseph Parker was. But it's pretty cool that, look, I love the sports NFT vertical. It's great that they picked Joseph Parker, who's from New Zealand, and there's a connection to Veve from that standpoint. By the way, did you see the Veve hat that he wore?
Yeah, I saw it. I also saw I was wondering if we can buy the shirts that they had in the fight with the Veve logo.
I searched for it, man. You and I are thinking exactly the same. Maybe I should ask, somebody at Veve to reach out to the team, Parker, and see if they can get that.
We should do that. We should do that. Maybe we can get some of those. Yeah.
And then music. Let me talk a little bit about music. So I'm a big Ron English fan, as you guys know. And to me, that music vertical is just absolutely stunning. And the reason, I think, again, that also caught a lot of us by surprise, because everybody thought, oh, it'll be Blackpink, because David follows all those four, Blackpink artists, or it could be the Beatles, or it could be one of these other things, right? But interestingly, it was Ron's idea. Ron took the idea to David about a digital jukebox with digital LPs and digital vinyl covers, and vinyl LPs and digital covers, but with art on it. And so David had promised him that the first drop would be his. So it's just amazing. Have you seen the video that the Omi homies did, shot in my house last night?
No, I didn't see that yet.
Oh, can you pull it up?
I will try, but I don't know if it will copy the sound in here. So sometimes StreamYard has issues with that.
Right?
Is it on Twitter or?
Yeah, it's on X. Just go to Omi homies. So if you want to search for that, I'm going to go grab something downstairs and bring that back. Okay, give me 30 seconds while you do that, all right?
Yeah, wait, the Omi homies, do you know the ticker? He's gone. Nice. Anyone else here in the chat know the ticker while he is grabbing something? I don't know what it's going to be. By the way, I almost missed that. Sanjay makes his community even better. Great stream, PH. Smash the like button. Smash the like button, guys. We have over 104 people in here. We should have at least 104 likes. But I have to find before he returns. Omi homies. Omi homies. H2 Omi, is that the channel? No, that's the one follower. That's not it. Does anyone know the Twitter handle of what he's talking about? Let me see if I can pull it. Like Omi homies. Oh, I think I found it. Maybe. No, that's not it. At homies Omi. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you for that. At homies Omi. There we go. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let's test this out here with you guys. Share the screen.
Hey, did you find it? No?
I found the channel. Is this the video? No, that's CryptoXR.
No. This one? No.
That's a photo of you.
Yeah, this one.
Dance off. Is it this?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at it. It's only 24 seconds.
Yes.
If it okay, no. Twitter has sometimes this bug of
Let's see if it works. It works.
We'll refresh it.
Yeah, just since you want to talk about.
There you go. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Ron, how about a dance off?
Can you hear the sound?
Hit it, Sanjay!
Until the break of dawn, I go on and on, on and on, on and on. Until the break of dawn, I go.
What did you think about that, man?
I don't know if the sound played for the people. It did.
It did.
Yeah, okay, it did. Okay, very good.
Yeah, so that's the music vertical, man. So I had a party in my house last night, and I had, the honor of hosting Ron and his family and his band, and the guys here in Dallas, and the Veve fam. So Omi homies, Max and Janie had thought of this idea, and they choreographed and produced the whole thing. And Ron was really, really, very. It was a good sport to kind of play along. Yeah, the dance moves need to be banned, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was.
It's good we have a music vertical. It's bad because I think a lot of the guys in that video need some dance lessons, right?
Well, they got some exposure here, but there are no rules, so that's fine.
Yeah, I wanted to show you this as well, my friend. So I hit level 100 this week. So with all this beautiful news, I also hit level 100. So I have a hat with.
Nice. Level 100 hat, only for the big master collector.
Oh, no, man. This is very special. And then I got a note from David and from Dan.
Oh, nice.
So super excited, man. This is another huge kind of accomplishment and achievement. And it just makes me very, very happy as well.
Did you get a hat for them?
I gave them one to give other level 100s. They can't wear it until they hit level 100.
Oh yeah, they have to collect a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, they have to collect a little more, man. But yeah, so I'm gifting this hat to all the level 100s. I think we have about 15 of them. So anyone who's a level 100, I have. There's like a gold box. I don't have it here, but so there'll be a gold box with this hat which says level 100, and a thank you note from David and Dan.
Save one for me. In about 3 years, I'll be there.
For sure, man. For sure.
But no, that's awesome. And really, I mean, it's great that you do so many things that like you turn stuff that comes out on Veve into community events. I think I think that shows a little bit how different the community is, because I don't see these things on, let's say, other altcoin projects in that way. There are some projects who do access to party and so on, but on that frequency that I'd say regular community members are hosting something like do guerrilla utility or something like that, right? We saw that many times already. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So
yeah, I think, you know, the word utility, when you think about utility, like a lot of Web3 is about utility. Utility for us on Veve is utility as in YU, utility, plus YOU, utility.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of what Veve does for the community, and it's a combination of what the community does as well. And people like yourself that create content, that engage audiences, they're not. Are you paid by Veve?
No.
See? Yeah, exactly, right. So you're engaging the Veve community and audience. You're as important, you know, to this community and that whole utility that we create. And I think when you look at Veve, so I know who Dr. Profit is. I think some of you do. Not all of you know what Dr. Profit has built with Stacker, right? Stacker is such an incredible utility for all of us. And so someone like a Dr. Profit is actually not just throwing a party or doing something. He's actually putting some of his own money into creating utility. And there's other things that I've heard that he's working on. I don't know the details of it, but they're pretty spectacular and special as well. The man does not get enough credit for what he does because he works very silently. You know, he works in the background. He works very silently. He's just incredible. I have a lot of love and respect for Dr. Profit. When you think of people like Omi Homies, when you think of people like Mike Collectibles, Veve Meister, Fanny Carbonell, yeah, all of you guys, Captain Veve, Dr. Staff, Danny the Bull, none of you guys get paid anything. You guys are all you guys are the YOU utility in the word utility. And what I find is that is growing every time somebody receives, you know, from any one of you guys or from people like myself who kind of, you know, we do a little bit like throw parties, whatever. Not the same scale as you guys. But, you know, when you think about every time you give and somebody receives, they feel joy, and that inspires them to give. You know, like even comics, like, you know, I give away some comics from time to time. People that receive those comics in turn give in whatever way they have. You know, it doesn't have to be a comic. They contribute back. And I think that's what makes Veve so special. The community is incredible. And I think we're still very small. There's a bear market. There's all these issues. But Patient Hotline, I tell you, man, at some point, it's the community that's going to bring in more and more people. Like that event in New York Comic Con with Veve, and then my event, the event that's in San Diego Comic Con and DCon, these kinds of, and then the offline events that we do even when there's no kind of big Veve event. These things are going to end up attracting more and more users into our community, and this is going to become a much bigger and a better place and more fun place than a lot of other kinds of companies and things. I mean, you ask anybody, they'll tell you Veve has the IP, Veve has the community. They have other problems with tech and all that stuff, but I think there are solvable problems with money.
I think so. except, or maybe you can tell me, but when we're already talking, or I don't want to talk much about problems, but at some point,
no, we can, we should, we absolutely should.
Right? Yeah. So obviously, I had this plan for the stream, and I will pull this up a little bit. We need to talk about the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room has a big red circle painted on it.
Yes.
And yeah, so Ecomi token. So we saw Marvel side, super. We saw soft staking in August last year. I made the video updates from Croatia. I remember when it was. And then right now, some utility in the sense of that you can gain MCPs also via OMI, but you don't have to. So you can get everything by only collecting. And especially right now with the comic minting, I think everyone who minted like a degenerate like me, they saw the MCP shooting up through the roof. So that is that. And then we have these ominous tickets where we don't know exactly what it's going to be good for, but that's probably it. And we lost an exchange and we got an exchange. What is needed now for Ecomi, so to say? Or do you have any insight? Have you heard anything? What is or only your personal thoughts maybe around the Ecomi?
I'd just share my personal thoughts on it.
Yep.
So first things first, irrespective of what Ecomi did back in the day when they launched the token and they got the money and they had a certain design and a plan and former white paper that they did, all of that stuff, irrespective of all of that, over the last 4.5 years since then, there has been a change in the regulatory landscape that requires Veve to be very, very careful and Ecomi to be very, very careful. So the first thing is, Veve has something going for it, Ecomi not as much as yet, right? You don't want to kill Veve by doing something silly with Ecomi. So I think the first thing that Veve and Ecomi did, which from my perspective, I could see, is they had Veve on one track and they had Ecomi on another track. And they said, look, we're going to, at the end of the day, the Ecomi and OMI is a utility token. There's no value anywhere else. You can trade all you want on any exchange. It'll go up and down. It'll just jump up and down. It's like a hot air balloon, will go up every time. It'll fall every time. There's no utility for it outside of Veve, right?
If you list it on Coinbase, it will go up 30x.
Sure, it will go up, but is that what you want to do? Like just make it go up and then fall and then go up and fall? I mean, just hear me out on this one.
Okay.
The whole logic was you have OMI on a certain rail and you have Veve on a certain rail. Now, regulation in this matter is not clear in every country. Veve operates globally. So if you merge Veve and OMI so tightly that you can't take OMI away from Veve in certain countries, you're screwed. The app will shut down. You will get screwed if you put OMI and Veve inextricably together in every country. So they've built separate rails. Now they have the ability to bring OMI in to the Veve rail in a smart manner that can prevent them from getting ever screwed in any country, right?
Yes.
So to set that mechanism up takes some degree of thinking, and we don't know what exactly Veve has planned to make that happen. And it's my sense that we will find out soon how this whole thing works. So the first thing is, look, if you have OMI, you get points, MCP points. It's not currency, it's MCP points. And MCP points are not cash, okay?
Yeah.
So that's one big kind of step forward towards that utility, a utility token having some utility in the place where it needs to have utility. Then they said, well, we're going to do bronze tickets, which is not just points. Bronze tickets give you access to something, right? Now, again, one of the things that Veve has to be careful about the bronze ticket is it's not same as cash.
Yeah.
So you can convert a bronze ticket to points and you can get something for the bronze ticket. We don't know what. I'm very curious to find out how it'll work and what we'll get. I guess we know how it'll work, but I want to find out what we get. Is it something that everybody else buys for $50 or $100 that we get for free? I don't think so. I don't know that, but I think they'll kind of try to avoid making it same as cash. You know, it's going to have, so at least it's my thinking that that's how that'll happen. And then, you know, I think that once you have created, there's two more things now. So once you've brought Omi into the app through points and through bronze tickets, now what you want to do is you want to make the Veve ecosystem bigger. If there's 20,000 active wallets on the app, and I don't know the exact number of how many of those active wallets have Omi in the app, but if you triple that number, if you quadruple that number, it's 5 times that number. That is people not buying Omi to dump on the next guy. That's people buying Omi because they want to put it in the app and they want to hold it in the app. And Veve can increase that number from 10 million to 15 million to 20 million in the future, who knows what, right?
True.
But that is a reason to not buy and sell, dump Omi in the market. It's a reason to buy Omi and hold Omi. The true value of Omi will come from holding. When you have more people who want to hold that Omi, and then if you burn Omi, right, all the mechanics, and I know the mechanics have changed. I'm not the right person to talk about it, but I'd love to see more mechanics for burning Omi. More and more and more. Play a game and burn it, do something else and burn it, third parties use it and burn it. Burn, baby, burn, right? Keep burning it. So those things to me are very, very important. And I don't, like, you know, I can see why people are very frustrated that they bought this token way back when. It's not done shit. It's fallen in value. There's not as much value. And you know, you can blame the team for it, and they should rightfully be blamed for it. Why didn't you do this shit like 3 years ago? All fair. But you can't turn back history. What's done is done. But looking ahead, in the last 4 months, I've seen MCP points for holding Omi in the app. Meaning you gotta hold that Omi and you get these points. People said you have points, but you can't use those points. Well, now you can use those points for drops. Now, I personally don't care about that. I need better utility for my points. So to me, I still need progress there. And I keep, you know, you've seen me go off on Twitter saying this MCP thing, unless you guys do something really good. But now they've heard us and they've made some tweaks to it, where they've said, if you hold this, this, and this thing, then you get this. And if you have this level, whatever, they can do stuff. Anyway, but all those things are, you know, and the bronze ticket now, to me, those are all creating utility for Omi in the app. Separately, Veve is working to grow its ecosystem. We may not have seen the growth as yet, but the Veve Comics app, step in the right direction. We don't have, it's not like we had 1 million users or 100,000 users coming on day one or something like that. But over time, think about it, man. If this number goes from 20,000 active users in a month to 30,000 or 40,000, if more of those, like when people see what the bronze ticket gets you, I don't know if it'll be good or not. But if the bronze ticket gets you something super valuable, guess what people are doing? They are going to take Omi, buy Omi, and put it in. Now, there's a whole separate conversation for the everyday guy who's not a crypto guy, who comes in through this Veve Comics app and then buys an NFT, for him to go figure out all these exchanges and KYC and buying this thing and hot wallet, cold wallet. It's like they're not going to, you know, do all that stuff. So you got to have a mechanism by which you can one-click Omi. I've spoken about it before too. I really believe we need a one-click Omi. The team needs to have a one-click, bang, one button. Omi should be where it needs to be in one click, without all this friction, bullshit, you know. And when you go into this whole crypto space, everybody plays, you know, I got this other wallet and I'm going onto this exchange and I'm going to wrap it and I'm going to unwrap it and I'm going to put it in this wallet here and then I'm going to, you know, do this and I'm going to pay gas and then I'm going to do this other thing. And All that bullshit's not, all that's friction. All that bullshit, somebody has to sort it out. Somebody has to say, you as a common man can hit one click. You KYC and you hit one click. I'll do all the bullshit in the back end for you. I'll pay the gas. I'll do this. I'll buy it. I'll put it into whatever wallet and I'll get it into your wallet. It's one click. I mean, my team built that at Amazon, by the way. We built this at Amazon. Literally, when you want to apply for a credit card at Amazon, it's within milliseconds, you're approved. Within milliseconds, it automatically goes into your Amazon account. Within milliseconds, you get the discount that you need to get for that first transaction, and within milliseconds, it's all completed.
Yeah.
You need that for Omi. If somebody
Absolutely.
is on Veve, within milliseconds, you have to have their wallet approved for crypto. Within milliseconds, you have to have that ability to give them promotional stuff, whatever it is. And within milliseconds, the Omi has to be there. And within milliseconds, the guy has to say, I want the bronze ticket. That the team hasn't done as yet. That needs to be figured out. And people keep saying, put it on more exchanges. Yes. If you put it on more exchanges, it becomes accessible. More accessible. And I like that. And they should do more of that. My understanding is that more exchanges are coming.
In great part, I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
But the necessity for exchanges, not only exchanges, but US exchanges, because
Yes.
most of the crypto trading volume is coming from the US.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
I think, so I found Veve through Omi. We know that we want to have people finding Veve through Marvel side, but still in a crypto bull run, there's so much potential of people finding the project Veve or the platform Veve, the Amazon of comics and digital collectibles Veve through the Omi token. So you want to have the Omi token on the exchanges that most people, like regular people, use, and regular people trust exchanges like Coinbase, trust maybe still trust Binance, I don't know. So do you think that Ecomi can list on a US exchange, or is that ship gone, has sailed?
I don't know the answer to that question. Look, first of all, I'm in full agreement with you. In the absence of somebody doing the legwork of buying Omi and putting it in your account, right? Yeah. Putting the Omi on a US exchange is, most of Veve's users are in the US. Everybody knows that. I don't know what the percentage is, whether it's 40% or 50% or 60%. Yeah. Most of Veve's users are in the US. So to have a US exchange for Omi that then enables them to bring it into the app is very, very important. Very, very important. I don't know why they don't have it. I don't have the answer to it. It's a great question for the team. What I do know the team has talked about is that this is not the last exchange. They're working on multiple exchanges. What I don't know is, are those exchanges all international exchanges, or is there a US exchange in it? Is it a large US exchange or not? I don't know the answer to that. I think an alternate, one of the additional things that the team should do is figure out a way in which a user does not have to open an account on exchange to go buy Omi, to go do something and then move it themselves. Even the whole layer 1, layer 2 is like a pain in the effing ass. Can we not figure out a mechanism where if there's like a broker service, a middleman service, an official middleman service, where if I want, like, why can't I tell somebody I want 10 million Omi, I pay them $11,000, and they put 10 million Omi in my wallet. So I pay somebody $11,000 by credit card or by bank, check or whatever, and they transfer it. Like, why does everybody need to go to an exchange, open an account on an exchange, go and move from your wallet to your spot wallet to go, all the whole nonsense, man. Like, you can't even do cash there, right? You're basically bringing in USDT, USDC, or ETH. You're converting it. Then you're going and, moving it into spot account. Then you're buying your Omi. Then you're moving it back. and then it's still freaking layer 1, then you got to convert it to layer 2, and then you got to bridge it. Like, why doesn't Veve or Ecomi or some third party that Veve is tied to have a service where if I want 10 million OMI, I'll pay you $11,000, and you can charge me a fee of $100, man. Like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
the amount of effort, the amount of friction. Do you think you'll get more people coming in, putting OMI in the app by putting it on an exchange, or by creating a one-click?
Honestly, I kind of lean to the exchange, because you have visibility like an advertisement that is basically for free just by the listing. And so how does it work? Most people that I know in my family, I have accounts on 10 exchanges, right? Because I try to buy coins that are not on every exchange.
Yeah.
But most people, they use one exchange and they buy what's there. They look at the new listings, and when there's a new listing, for example, Bitpanda in Europe, it's like a family-friendly exchange. They can just click on it and buy, and they have a spread, but they don't have to do limit orders and so on. When they have a new listing, they have a spotlight. You can subscribe to Spotlight. It has a countdown, and they get an airdrop of €1 or so in those tokens. So they already have that token, then they read about the token. So I think this type of listings would be crucial. And then they see, oh, Ecomi is the currency to enable certain features, or not the currency. Maybe they don't want to avoid that word, but enables certain features, and they will find Veve in that way. So I think that would create a lot of inflow. We saw that in the bull run, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert enough to disagree with you violently on this one, but what at least my personal opinion is that we should have a US exchange because it'll add some simplicity. But the type of people that will buy OMI, you will have a lot more speculators. And not a reason not to do it. You'll have a lot more speculators that are going to buy OMI and dump OMI at different points in time. There'll be heavy volatility, whether you're in a crypto bull or a bear. And those people, there may be some of them who'll move their money into a collectible business. I doubt it. I know that it happened during the NFT rush. I don't think it's replicable now. Honestly, I don't think it's replicable, that the people that are speculating on OMI on exchanges and going, at least the guys who are trading it back and forth. I like the fact that it's access. So yes, a lot more collectors who are in the US now have a means to kind of bring it in and stuff. But personally, I think there's more to gain. The OMI that comes into Veve for the purposes of getting a bronze ticket or whatever else is the type of OMI that's not going to get dumped, is my humble opinion. Maybe it does, but it's and maybe it does. I don't know. But look, either which way, I think we're both saying the same thing. It's very important to have a US exchange. It's very important to have more exchanges, not just in the US, but internationally as well. It makes access to OMI easier. It makes the ability, it reduces a lot of the friction. Going to bigger exchanges reduces the risk of rug pull, which we've all kind of faced, right? I agree with all those points. I'm simply making another point, which is, at the end of the day, OMI is a utility token, and the team's number one focus should be to continue to build more utility that makes people want to bring OMI into the app, spend OMI, whether it's in the app for holding for bronze ticket, or buying accessories in the Veveverse, or buying things, or burning OMI and all that stuff, playing games and all that. To me, that part is more interesting to me personally.
Yep.
I feel that if they grow the number of users and they grow the number of use cases for OMI, those two things.
Absolutely.
More users.
We want. It's not either or. We want both.
Yeah, it's not either or.
We want the exchange, and
but
we want one
of these two is more sustainable than the other.
Yeah.
One of these two is more sustainable. And I think if they don't have utility and all they do is let it fly on exchanges, it's going to be just another coin.
But here's the thing. You're right. one of these two is more sustainable. That's your suggestion. But it's like we are saying, let's play with offense. Oh no, let's play with defense, right?
No,
no,
I agree.
we want both. We want to be aggressive so that hundreds of thousands of people know about Veve, and at the same time give value and ease up, like one-click only, to preserve the ones that come in, to maintain them in the app.
We're fully in agreement. We should have had more exchanges and more US exchanges long time back.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But in my humble opinion, there is a growth in the ecosystem, Veve ecosystem, in terms of the number of users and the number of use cases for Omi in the app, or in the Veve ecosystem, that's more exciting for me personally. To me, that would be, a ladder where every time there's a new step, you're climbing up and you're not falling down. You're climbing up, you're climbing up, and you're climbing up, versus a speculative only business. And I want both, right?
100% agree. Let's take this user question
here. That was a long discussion, man. That
was a long discussion. It had to be discussed. But let's talk one. Let's take a breather and see here. When will we have a true MCP value on high price collectibles, or should I say high value collectibles? So that's probably for you that is outraged about lacking MCP.
Yeah, man, brother. Like somebody who's like, level 100. I want to see. Okay, look, I don't want to feed the whales. I don't want to feed the whales. The whales don't need to be fed, right? But
they are fed already.
I disagree with that. But anyway, give us another sticker, right? For sure. But here's okay. So let me answer the specific question, right? Can you put that back?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
When will we have true MCP value on high price collectibles? Should I have high value collectibles? So look, I don't work for Veve, so I don't know the answer when. But your thought is correct. Because today, if you go and buy a $2 uncommon, you get half a point. So if you have $100, right, you can buy 50 uncommons, and for 50 uncommons, you'll get 25 MCP points, the way it works today.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and buy one ultra rare collectible for $100, right? Same money, you buy one ultra rare, which is a high value collectible, you're going to get 1 point for it. So theoretically, what Veve Zombie is saying is right, in that the guys who are truly collecting what they love and collecting the high value stuff, or low mints for that matter, you might actually have a thing that has a floor price of like $20, but somebody bought mint number 41 or 21 or 15 or whatever it is now, 11 for $100. They're not getting any value. I mean, Veve did build some kind of sort of mechanism for low mints by saying, well, if you have a low mint, you'll get 50% more. And then if you have a secret rare, you get something more. But it's not comparable. Realistically, if you're buying all the cheap comics and just hoarding these comics, you can game the whole MCP to hit high levels and high tiers and whatever. And I agree with that. So I gave that same feedback, and I hope that the team listens to that feedback. And essentially, if you are not just based on the number of points you use, but if you have certain sets, if you have certain sets, and if you've held it for 3 years, 5 years, you get something very special.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tie that into the MCP as well, right? You can say, if you're MCP level X and you have, let's say, the Miles Morales set, that's a very expensive set. It's 15,000 for the secret rare or whatever, and all this other stuff. And maybe it's the whole thing 16, 17 grand or whatever it is. So if you have held that set for 3 years and you're MCP 20 and above or 25 and above, maybe not even MC, forget MC for a minute, just if you held that set, you get an airdrop of something very special. And there may be out of the 140, whatever, 160 some people that have that collectible, maybe there's only 100 people that have the full set, and of the 100 people that have the full set, maybe only 30 have held it for 3 years. Not now, I'm saying in the future, right?
Yeah.
To do something very exclusive, you get like a golden Miles Morales with unlimited freaking something and a statue and whatever. It's like insane utility. To me, that would be, those would be good things. But I agree with your point, with the point that they made. I don't think there's the answer today. I've got some ideas on it. I've shared some of those ideas openly. And if anybody else, that's not the only answer. I think if anybody else has ideas, you should share that. It's a great point. Because how do you reward true collectors? We're not just buying comics for MCP points, who are collecting.
Yeah, I think it's great points. The only addition to that would be, as you said, if you have these high value, high price things, usually the price derives already either from the mint number or from the quality and scarcity of that collectible. So you don't need another reward, right? You already have the big price, because why are you buying it for that collectible, right?
Well, if you got it on drop, yes, you did. Or maybe if you bought it super early, but if you bought it afterwards, you're getting nothing for it. You just spent 15 grand. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, the price doesn't come in the expectation of the airdrop. It becomes because
it's your risk.
249 editions of Miles Morales, right? And this leads me to the next topic also. You will be able to use it hopefully soon for everyone. Not the Veve soon, right? Hopefully soon, in the Veveverse. And you have access to the Veveverse, correct?
Yes.
You have signed an NDA. I know you cannot say many things. Maybe you
it makes
can
it look
talk
bad,
about...
right? Like, it seems like I have all the access, right? I get invited to this. There were 30 people. Sorry, not sorry, man. Like, shit. I'm happy I got access.
But it's, I mean, they know they cannot let me beta test comics because I would spill the beans on my channel, right? They know they cannot let me into the Veveverse.
Would you do
because
that?
I look. Obviously, I would not breach an NDA.
Man, why do you want to knock yourself out of any future beta, man?
No. But here's the thing. I'm telling that jokingly, but also with like an honest side, because I want to talk about that stuff, and I'm not the person that wants to experience that in silence. Say, look, I have an NDA. I'm not a tester. I want to show this to people. So I want, the moment that we can, I want to have this access so that I can stream with this, right? So, but maybe you can share about your experience with the Veveverse, and also I don't know, I saw you have on my thumbnail an Apple Vision Pro in your hand, and probably you had it on your head as a long time already. Yes. So maybe you can kind of share the experience with both of them, and if you had any experience with like both of them connected, if that's possible. Okay.
Not that I won't tell you about it, but look, I've had access to. I was in the first 30 people to beta test Veveverse, and I really enjoyed that access. It was there was a lot of things that worked very beautifully in Veveverse, and there were one or two challenges with scaling. I won't comment on what those challenges are because I don't think the team has made them public, but I might directionally kind of. So you kind of have an idea of what it could be. But anyway, so I've not been able to open Veveverse in the Apple Vision Pro today. It could be that some other people, because Anthony, who's the CEO of Cavernous, Cavernous is building Veveverse. Cavernous has built out things in the Apple Vision Pro. Anthony Duca is his name. He's on X. He posts things frequently. So he's shown Cavernous stuff in the Apple Vision Pro. And so it gives me a lot of hope that Veveverse, since it's being built on Cavernous, would have the ability to launch on Apple Vision Pro. As an Apple Vision Pro app, not just a Apple app that works and opens in the Vision Pro. But leave that aside for a minute. I think if you just think about Veveverse, the experience on Veveverse, it's a tremendous metaverse. You have the ability to. So what do I like about it, right? So I'll talk about the things I like, and I'm allowed to talk about it. By the way, I'm not giving away anything. It's just I cannot share some pictures of it, and maybe there's one or two issues that they don't want people to comment on that they're working on. It's not
Then let's go.
Yeah. So first things first is when you open the Veveverse, you have the ability to create your own personal space. It's not on a map. In the future, it could be, but right now it's not on some map where if I pick my space, Rolex's space is next to me or somebody else's. There's no relative spaces. You have your space and there's a link to go to somebody else's space. That's about it. There's no, there's no map and neighborhoods and whatever. Not now anyway. Yeah. Maybe in the future they have. So when you get into your space, there's a lot of, the first things first is, what kind of communication do you have? Because we're a social creature. The whole concept is if you have a pad, it's not to freaking just sit there because that's your vault. You have that anyway, right? It's about the social aspect. So Veveverse is very, very thorough in that social aspect. You're able to very quickly find your friends and invite them in. You're very quickly able to, when they come in, your avatar can interact with their avatar, speak, see, move together, follow, like all those things kind of work. Yeah, that's one. Yes, voice as well. Then, in addition to, you being able to do that, there's also like a Zoom-like feature where there's small, like right now you're seeing two screens, right? Smaller screens on the side where you can see video of each other if you turn it on. You also have like a physical chat typing going on. And you have the ability to leave a message for people that come into your space. So there's that and you can have multiple people, multiple screens with videos of different people in there. So it's designed incredibly very well with communication in mind. All of that stuff worked day one beautifully by the time they let the first beta user group in. And I really enjoyed it. So I had Rolex in my space. I've had Tails. I've gone into Tails' space. A lot of other people, Jimbo, Lilingo, Michael, a lot of other people. Like I've seen their spaces and stuff, really incredibly beautiful spaces. And that communication side, the social side is very good. I think another one then is, your avatar, right? So if you have a Ready Player Me account and an avatar there, you can open your Ready Player Me account, take the link to your avatar, go into Veveverse, paste it. That's it. Paste it, and your avatar comes in, and you can change it. If you have different avatars, you can change them and all from there. So that is also. Thank you very much. So, and I see he's going to hit level 100 as well, and I have one for him as well. Once he's there, so I got a few of these made. So. I have, for the people that are already level 100, I'm going to ship it to you or give it to you in New York Comic Con if it's just too expensive to ship. But others, if you get there, just hit me up and I'll get you one. It's my gift in the community, brother. So anyway, okay, let's going back. So the avatar piece is very easy and very intuitive, and you can. Those avatars are good. I mean, Ready Player Me avatars are great. Then the next thing is when you build your pad, right? There's it's like an exoskeleton and an endoskeleton, or it's like the outside and the structure of a building, and then you have the interior design part, right? Those are two parts to it. So the exoskeleton and the structure, Veveverse is very rich in materials. So you can pick glass, you can pick wood, and you can pick the grain of the wood. You can pick metals, you can pick all this stuff. So you're able to design your universe, your pad, with a lot of different materials, flooring, all that stuff, lighting, different types of lighting, the spread, diffuse lighting, the spotlight, the the under lamp that kind of gets the light effect, all those different types. I'm not using the right words, guys. But anyway, you get my point. So there's all these different types of lighting, the colors of the lighting, the styles of the lighting. It's just like when you build a high-end home, you have access to very unique materials, except that if you try to do that in the real world, you're going to end up spending millions of dollars to get that type of finish, a glossy finish, a marble finish, a high quality, a wood finish. And you can get all the desired types of things. So if you have like a desire to build something, if you're a builder of multiple universes, you can do that. It also has the ability to either bring in somebody to just visit you, or you can bring in somebody with the ability to modify your path. So I can hire web builders who can, builders of metaverses who come in and who can design this for me, and you can pay them for it. So anyway, those are amazing. Sorry, let me stop there. Go ahead.
Yeah, are any of the animation, like the functionality things like vehicles, is that usable?
I can't comment on that. You can bring in vehicles on it. I can't comment on the drivability. What I do know is that when Veve did a demo in Decon, the vehicles were drivable at the time. So whether they've made them drivable now in the beta and which ones are not, I won't comment on it, man. Like,
for sure, they will have disabled it and never gone back to it. Yes, okay.
I don't know, man. Like, you can talk about. Yeah, I'm not going to bite on that.
You didn't say anything. It's fine. It's fine. But what about comics?
But the goal is to, have everything drivable, right? And all that other stuff, right? So. The end goal is to get there. They've said that themselves. How much of it you get on day one versus day two? How much do people get in the beta now versus in a later beta or in the final release is this kind of thing. But anyway, so the external building side, and Tails has shared his video. There's a few other people that have gotten approval to share their videos. I know that's in some cases, the quality of the video was affected more by the video quality, not by the actual building quality. I've actually seen, Tales of Space in Veveverse, and I've seen the quality of that space. It's incredible. The video does not do that justice. I have a room which is just the golden moments. Every golden moment is in the FA golden moments, right? All the golden moments in Veveverse, my pad. And the way that gold shines, incredible. I mean, it's just like, it's beautiful, and you can get different types of shines and where you put the light and everything. And you can, if you put one golden moment next to the other, you can see the reflection of the golden moment in that golden moment. And that's the quality. And you can adjust the brightness and the dimness and all those things. Spectacular. So that whole ability to bring in collectibles from Veve, all that stuff. Veve had to go through a process of upgrading its collectibles. So even the animated stuff, some of the animated stuff that you see, the way it works in the app, required some degree of modification. The static stuff is the easy stuff, but even that they had to go through some upgrade, is my understanding. Not all collectibles were available day one, and then they kept adding them hundreds at a time. Somebody was working on it and upgrading them. Obviously, whenever you do it, there's some things that need rework, so they send it back and it gets reworked and stuff. So it was important that the beta was restricted to a few people who understand it. Otherwise, you're just going to have people who are going to mock the company. This thing has one eye and this leg doesn't move, and then blow up socials, and this is slow and that is fast. And there's a reason why. And the whole point of this whole thing is we're identifying issues and reporting them in Discord in a sort of hidden channel or whatever, limited access channel. So there was a lot of work there. And I know some people think being in betas is it's great, and I think there's a coolness aspect to it which is really great, but there's also the fact that you're the first person that goes through all the pain. Something doesn't work, you're figuring it out, and then you're actually filling out a form, you're talking to people, And so it's almost like you're a tester working for free, right? And you're doing a lot of work. And so this type of beta testing is very evolved, especially the Veveverse beta testing. So, I really must tip my hat off to people like Tails and Falcon and these guys who have done so much work. So much work. I mean, these guys deserve a very special thank you from the community. They've not been paid anything.
Yeah.
They've spent months building things in Veveverse and sharing feedback on what needs fixing and stuff. I mean, that Veve has a very special community. I mean, to have people that do that. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, he's, they have special status, he's got access, but look at how much work these guys have put in. I mean, it's not like some people said, I have 5,000 collectibles, why don't I have access to Veveverse? Well, they wanted only 30 people, and they tried to pick people who are builders and building and can provide the feedback and have the time to provide feedback,
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true.
let me pause there. I think, that might have given you a little bit of insight into it. The scaling issue, right? So you can have, so if Veveverse works so great, why is it not rolled out to everybody, right? So scaling is a very important factor. Having a Veveverse is one thing. Pick any metaverse, man. They've all had the problem. Spatial had a problem. All of them had problems with scaling. So to scale it in a sustainable manner, in a smart manner, is very important. To scale it such that everything works, all the way from when you come in, and like some people, their Veve usernames are different and they block people and whatever. Like, you don't want to get doxxed, right? Also, so there's a lot of many small things to think about, which the team has done a very good job of. I'm so happy to see the second phase of beta testers in there. I've had the opportunity to chat with Tony. Tony came in the next phase. I've gotten his feedback on a number of things. So we chat now, right? Because he also has access. So really happy. I don't, this is a suspicion of mine. I don't know for sure. But I think that because Veve was working on a time-bound project with Veve Comics, they may have put all hands on deck to work
to make it happen.
To make that happen, and that might have resulted in Veveverse slipping. Even though Veveverse is being built by Cavernous, they can't build everything by themselves. There's got to be Veve people working on it. There's got to be a Veve team working, interacting with them on the collectibles, the legal team. Think about it, right? If Veve had to get 300 comics from Marvel, first of all, build a Marvel Comics app, build the reader, get 300 comics with different rarities and put it on the app and get to work. How much legal work would have gone on? How much tech work would have gone on? And there's if you look at each of these swim lanes, Veve has a finite capacity, right? And if something excessive comes in from Marvel Comics or Veve Comics, that stream, Veveverse, they can delay for like another 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Nothing's going to change that much. I mean, people be upset, but you cannot miss that deadline, right? So it's my guess. I don't know for sure, but it's my guess that Veve may have prioritized that over the Veveverse, which resulted in some of the delays. You probably asked. It's a good question to ask the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, for me, that's exactly fulfilling my wish, because with everything that I criticized in the last year, that was the only thing where I said, please take your time to deliver something good, and don't because everyone was like, you said the Veveverse before Christmas and now it's after Christmas. I don't care. It's not like the entire, as you see with the exchange listing, I'm more focused also on the Web3 oriented crypto space. Exchange listings are important, but you want to launch a metaverse into when every metaverse is hot, and not when no one cares about metaverse. And the fact of the matter is, at the moment, no one cares about metaverse.
I think you're okay.
They care about dogs with hats. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they care about dogs with hats. They care about Web3 gaming and about AI applications. Yeah, and that's it. And maybe some layer ones, but
Yeah.
in the crypto space, metaverse and NFTs are not the topic, and that's also why Bored Apes are down. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, and I think they've disappointed people too. All of them, all of them have disappointed people too. You know, whether it's Other Side and whether it's all these other guys. Maybe Spatial's one that's kind of done well. But I'll share one other additional point with you. So I was at South by Southwest, and this is a much smaller VV gathering than Auxerre or New York Comic Con or DCon. And so I had the opportunity to chat with David, and I don't have, as contrary to what people may think, that I know everything about VV and somebody tells me everything or whatever. Contrary to that, I really enjoy my discussions with David when I meet him in person, and so this time, and I've met him before. Every time I've talked to David in the past, we've talked about MCP. He's talked about how much he cares about collectors. He talks about, he'll kind of talk about those kind of things. So this time when I met David, when I had some one-on-one time with him, I asked him, I said, David, I'm liking the direction of MCP. I'm not completely satisfied. We need to kind of, this whole using points and buying boxes. He stopped me. He stopped me right there. And he told me something. He just literally told me one thing. He says, Sanjay, my number one focus this year is OMI. He told me that. He's never told me that. He's never shut me down. He's never shut me down. He'll engage in a conversation. It's the first time he shut me down. And he said,
promising.
This is a real conversation. This is a real conversation. I'm not lying to you. I'm not faking this. I'm not making this bullshit up. And if you think I am, then, you can. You're welcome to. You're welcome to think whatever the hell you want to, right? But David,
you know that I wouldn't think that, like me, patient.
No, I don't. There's a lot of people.
Because right? I heard something similar actually on Crypto XR. Just also having the chance to talk to David. So they also said that. Yeah. So I'm not in the know of why Veve did not talk about OMI more publicly, why Veve did not make progress with OMI over the last 2 years. I don't know the answer to that question. I heard some rumors that there was some lawsuit, there were some issues, and they were working through some regulatory stuff, some legal stuff, not just regulatory, that resulted in whatever they did. I don't know the specifics of it. But what I do know is that OMI, and I believe David, OMI is his number one focus this year. Number one focus. I do believe, I don't know for sure which exchanges or what, but I do know they're working actively on getting more exchanges. I don't know if they are US exchanges or not. I don't know if there's any technical issue or any other issue with kind of like, so why are you starting from the bottom? Why don't you start from the top? Why don't you put on Coinbase first and then we worry about all these other bit whatever, right? I don't know the answer to the question either. Those are all great questions for you guys to ask and get answers to as well. But listen, I'm convinced that they are going to do more exchanges. I'm convinced that they're going to focus on significantly more utility for OMI in the app. I'm just in general, I feel like the more, when we talked about the two directions, one listed on exchanges and, create more utility in the app, it's my understanding that they're focused on both. Mm-hmm.
So
sorry.
No,
go ahead.
No, please. That's it.
I just want to say we are already 10 minutes over the time that I scheduled with you. Or that I set as a guideline for our stream.
I'm okay. I'm okay to go as
but
long
if
as
you're
you
okay,
want to chat with me. I'm okay to chat as long as you want to, about whatever you want.
Okay, great. Just to check if you have to go and you're sitting.
No, I'm
basically
okay.
Waiting.
I'm okay, man.
Okay,
I've got time.
Great. Yeah. So this is super interesting, and it aligns with what we are seeing. And maybe this is something to get excited about. You probably don't know anything additional about it, but I think it's worth discussing. Did you see the change in the TOS that happened?
I don't know. I haven't studied it. I've seen So I know I got the email for the change in TOS, which
Yeah.
I think everybody did. I
Everyone
opened it.
did.
There was a lot of stuff. It didn't mark in yellow what's changed. That would be nice. Like, do I really have to read or do some kind of, Adobe kind of compare to kind of check them both? Like, why not make it easier and just tell me what it is? But I think some people in the community have. I can't talk about all the specific changes because I just don't know. I haven't, studied thoroughly. I heard something about interoperability was different.
Yep. That's where I'm getting at. So there are actually two things. One thing that I will address quickly, so it's out of the way. Apparently, there was a TOS added for in case we go bankruptcy or bankrupt, you will lose a lot of value and stuff on your collectibles. Just so you are aware. So that is one. But I will get this out of the way because
David said we'll get the keys, man. Like if something happens to Veve, we'd get the keys or whatever, our keys or whatever.
I don't know. That might be gone
That's what they're supposed to add, right? Like don't tell me like, man, like I know if something goes down, I lose money. But why don't you put some language that says if something were to happen to Veve, we'll give you the keys and you can take your thing and put it, you can get it on immutable and move it out to other parts of immutable. But that's anyway. I'll read that. I'll read that for sure.
The real deal is the change in TOS that says, hey, look, Veve might permit a third-party platform that might be eligible that you transfer collectibles that Veve can choose on it, and that you can use your collectibles for sale for currencies. Okay, so for me that sounds okay. Actually, not maybe owe me, but the collectibles are getting another exchange. Yeah. So be that Immutable X or I don't know what, but it seems that there's another marketplace where you can transfer your collectibles out, and that there are certain currencies which could be euro, yuan, dollar, but also maybe Bitcoin, Ethereum, OMI, who knows? To purchase and sell collectibles would actually be a great opportunity to see what Veve collectibles would be worth outside of the Veve app, because so many people say, hey, look, if I can take the secret rare outside on OpenSea, I would get 6 Ethereum for it. I saw that argument many times. So it would be interesting. What do you think about this?
So I think you got to look at it from two lenses, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's a Veve lens, there's a licensor lens. It's my humble opinion that if something happens to Veve, right? Hopefully nothing ever happens, all of that stuff. But if something ever happens to Veve, right, they go under, just like Recur, right? My sense is the finish would be very different to the way Recur happened. My sense is that there's a couple of very big players on Veve, like Disney. I think Disney will tell Veve, we want all Disney, Marvel, maybe Marvel separate. We want all our NFTs to go onto platform A and do a migration, and it's there. Mm-hmm. More like the Palm Candy kind of thing, right? They just migrated everything, now you're on Candy, right? My sense is that would be the way that part will go. Then I think there's a non-big IP stuff or other IP where Veve would have, Veve is not going to do 500 freaking integrations with 500 different platforms, right? The big guys will always win. They'll have their thing. They'll put it somewhere and they'll control that. That new marketplace will have its own rules and whatever else. But the other stuff, Veve may have a partnership with, everybody should have a plan B in life, It's not just Veve. Every one of these NFT companies should have a platform, have some kind of a plan B that says if something happens to them, how does it kind of seamlessly transition over to this other thing? And I think that the individual artists and stuff, they're just going to release it. Take it to OpenSea, take it where the hell you want to, do whatever you want to. At least that'd be my guess how that would play out. And there may be one kind of a business, platform where all the other stuff goes. But look, I mean, we're all speculating, right? There's 50 ways in which this thing could happen. Is there a 1% or a 10% or a 50% chance that they just sync and all the NFTs sync with it? Possibly, but I don't think so. I mean, this is too big. This is too big for it to sink like a Titanic. Veve may go, but our collectibles will roll into something else. Now, is the new platform any good? Is there any value? Does the licensor still create value? What happens to MCP? Because now it's all scattered. There's like a lot of other, I think MCP will sink for sure. If that happens. Your collectibles will be fine, but that makes sense too, right? I mean, there's nobody's going to honor your, maybe they do. Maybe who knows if somebody else has a points program. When one hotel chain buys another hotel chain, they'll do something with their points to take it on, right? But it's got to be comparable. But I think we're still very early in the space. Personally, man, I would love to see language that says, in the event that something happens to Veve, you would get the keys with, to do whatever you want with some part of your collectibles, and for specific big IPs where they don't have a say, the IP will dictate where it goes. They may not know the answer to where it goes. So that's why they can't put it there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's ambiguity in the language.
I think I gave this a wrong spin with my first highlight of the TOS of bankruptcy, because if I hadn't said that, we wouldn't think in that direction right now of interoperability. So Crypto Tony here said, this sounds like a 2021 to 2022 convo, but it's middle of 2024 and we should not still be speculating. I would say that we're speculating about other things now. And like, it's not that we are still speculating if there could be another vertical or so, for example, stuff like that. Although I would also say, is it really speculation if it basically says in the TOS that this is going to happen? It's just the speculation is just in which way. And I'm thinking here about one thing that people were actually speculating if it would ever come, which seems to be coming by such a place, and that is, if you don't get liquidity into the Veve app by having an upload of, for example, crypto cash in, then you have to put your Veve collectibles in the way of that liquidity. So if you don't have it, you have to put it on a marketplace where that liquidity goes. And that's what I'm aiming for. Because if someone wants to, ultimately, Marvel, Veve, Disney, everyone wants that their Grail piece goes for a big, big buck in the end, right? No one, even though that David, you said, oh, we have to cool down the market because otherwise companies believe that we left money on the table, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you want that Miles Morales is the one thing on, how is it called, Cointelegraph and so on, where it's the big photo with Veve Miles Morales goes for $1 million. Yeah.
I hope so, man. I hope so,
Yeah, we will see. But so I just wanted to add that here to Crypto Tony's. We are still speculation. The same interoperability convo, but it was not in the TOS.
I think he brings up a good point, right? So there's two interoperability conversations. One's a doomsday conversation, which is sort of the may play out, may not play out. It's good to have some language and clarity. The other one is we want interoperability, period. Like, even if Veve is not in trouble, everybody wants interoperability, right? And I think the interoperability conversation should include, should start from the from the edges at least, even if the big IP is a challenge, right? So for the independent artists, can we pick a couple of artists where they allow their Veve collectibles or their collectibles on Veve to get moved on to somewhere, right? But it could either be like OpenSea, or it could be some other places. One really interesting kind of example that I would think about is DC.
Yep.
So should DC collectibles that are on Veve be interoperable with another DC environment like Palm, right? Or Candy, sorry. Right? DC is on both, right? And that would be an interesting kind of a use case. I mean, obviously, interoperability doesn't come automatically. It's not just kind of saying, I'll give you the keys and you can take it and do whatever. There's some amount of, at least my understanding is some amount of work needs to be done. And we don't know if first of all, both companies have to agree to it. And then, they have to enable it and DC has to play a role or whatever. But I think it'd be a very good test case where you can, let's say, take one collectible or one group of collectibles that are DC collectibles on Veve and create the interoperability on another platform that DC is already on. Sure, it doesn't meet people's kind of goals of my keys, my kingdom, do all that good stuff. But it at least gives you the comfort level that now you have stuff that can move in and out of a couple of platforms. So if you have a problem with one, right? If something happens, you have peace of mind, you can go there. Or if there's more liquidity on another platform, you can take it there. If there's less liquidity, you can move it here. So I don't know, that'd be an interesting idea. That's just my idea. I don't know if, a lot of you might think about it and say that's stupid. But I would say between not having any interoperability for anything and having some interoperability for some things, where at least there's a common path where the IP is already on multiple platforms, or where the artist is open to kind of just putting it anywhere in the public domain, any kind of blockchain. I'd love to see that. I mean, I think it might be resource allocation that might be a factor there, but I don't know for sure. We'll see, man.
I think we will have to see, and we have to reevaluate when we are at the end of the year, where we'd say, okay, full-blown crypto market excitement left and right. What did we really get?
Yeah. I mean, each person's perspective is different, right? For some people, I've heard some people who say, I don't care about Veve because I don't have the keys and I don't care about it. I don't want to put $1 in it. When it becomes fully interoperable, I'll put money. And I get those guys. I'm not in that bucket. For me, I would like to see interoperability happen, but I'm not, in some kind of a fire to get it happen. I'd rather see new verticals come out. I'd rather see growth on Veve. I'd rather see some progress with Ecomi. I'd rather see some progress with Veveverse. To me, I would put those things a little bit ahead of that, just personally, and because I have a certain amount of faith that they're not sinking tomorrow. I think eventually it's going to become an issue. That's not my number one, but that's just me. And no judgment against anybody that thinks that.
So I think some people, when they talk about interoperability, they actually want self-custody, just to have that feeling of that they can remove their collectibles from the Veve app, for example. Is it in the end?
Pull it out from the ecosystem and put it in your own cold wallet. Is that right?
Yeah, that only works when you have some level of interoperability, because if you put it in a cold wallet, Veve goes away and you cannot put it anywhere back onto another exchange or so, then it doesn't help anything, right? So it needs to be both. Like, needs to have access to other platforms. Like, it needs to be transferable on a layer 1, basically. Or on a layer 2.
I mean, just on immutable, right? I mean, get it back into layer 1 immutable, right?
Yeah. So that it's independent from Veve. But then again, you have the whole discussion about secondary market fees. Yeah, because probably the licensor will say, yeah, but if I allow this, it will get stored away and not bought and sold and bought and sold, so it doesn't generate me fees.
All the fraud starts to, right? Now you and I can do an off app transaction. I'll list it for $1. You take it for $1, and then you're sending me 10 ETH offline, right? But that's going to happen anyway. I mean, that probably still happens in the app.
That needs to happen.
Buying a high value transaction today, they're probably listing it for $3,000 and sending 5 later. You can't avoid that shit. You just cannot. Yeah,
you have to write the fees into the NFT so that it gets, like, part of that ETH gets sent back to the creators, like they did on the original OpenSea NFTs. The Veve Meister actually has a question. Do you guys think the next publisher on Veve Comics could be a known manga publisher?
I don't know the answer to that. I know David was in Japan. We all do. He went to Japan, and he's very big fan of all the Japanese things. So I doubt he went to Japan and did meet anime manga people there, man. I doubt it.
But I think that's a good thing to think about when we fall asleep, and that's also, I think, a good wrap here for the stream, because we're going to 2 hours, and we definitely have more topics for sure. We could go on for another 2 hours, but I unfortunately can't. So we need to do a follow-up stream for sure. Because we didn't enter anything outside of Veve, which I definitely want to discuss with you as well. And yeah, so do you have any final consideration here, like after everything we talked about? Any words to the chat, or in general about Veve?
Yeah, I would say this was probably one of the best weeks on Veve, despite the challenges that we had with the payment side of Veve Comics, and it was a painful thorn, but it's the thorn is gone, the foot will heal kind of thing. It's a small thorn, but just the whole week was incredible. They brought sports, they brought music as a category. I would love to see more jukeboxes and LPs from different types on the art side as well as from the more mainstream side. I would love to see sports NFTs grow. Josh Emmett, man, I'd love to see a Josh Emmett NFT, but also others. I'd love to see that grow. Just the sky is the limit for Veve Comics. There's so much that can happen. It's just the start. It's day one. And I'm very excited about the Veve Comics and the reader and all of that stuff. And then separately, I think it's... I would love to see. We got an exchange too, by the way. We didn't talk about it, but we did get an exchange. I mean, you mentioned
we
it.
just mentioned it on the side.
We just briefly mentioned it, but I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more exchanges, U.S. exchanges come in. I would love to see that bronze ticket actually work and have value. It should be so valuable that every person on the app says, "I want to put OMI in the app." I hope that all the crypto guys are pushing for exchanges. They're not pushing for one-click OMI in the app. Mm-hmm. I believe that the opportunity to have more steady OMI in the app, people that, the grandmother deposits the OMI in the bank and doesn't pull it out, that type of, OMI kind of thing, where it's your grandmother should be able to one-click OMI. No, really, your grandmother... That I push more for that, and I think that's doable today. I think it's doable today. Why do I need to do all that stuff? Why can't somebody just create a website where I pay them $11,000 and they put layer 2 OMI in my wallet?
It's funny that you use the grandmother, because OMI is literally the German word for grandmother.
There you go, man. There you go.
Like in a little bit of a
But yeah, those are my thoughts, man.
More familiar.
Super excited. Thank you very much for hosting me here. A big hello to the entire German fam as well. By the way, one thing that David commented about Oxair, it was basically we're chatting and he was like, it's amazing to see so many people from Germany. He said that's an incredible community in Veve, the German community. And he said we probably should do something in Germany for sure.
Absolutely. There must be a brand that David wants in Germany. It cannot
you guys,
be that...
No, you guys should find the right event, just like
Okay.
the way Fanny found Oxair. You guys should find the right event in Germany and collectively go chase down Veve, and I'm sure it will happen because they have a lot of regard. There's a lot of fans in Germany, and you guys do amazing. You have a great strength.
Hey, that's awesome. We should do that. And we have 5 car manufacturers in Germany to bring to the app. So definitely something to do for David. We just visit one by one. And then if it's BMW, we should book a tent in the Oktoberfest.
But there you go. That's right. That's the way to do it, man.
Okay, but thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to do not forget, smash up the like button. Also follow Mr.MC1. There he is. Mr.MC1, Sanjay on Twitter, Yeah, and subscribe to the channel. I see you all in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.